Thanks for joining me. This lecture topic is entitled JMeter Dashboard Reporting and Configuration. In this section, we are covering the analysis portion of the JMeter Performance Test Strategy. JMeter now supports a set of reports through an IDE menu option called Dashboard Reporting. Under the Tools pull-down menu in the IDE, you will find an option labeled Generate HTML Report. This option displays a pop-up window. The window requires the following entries. The first entry should be a results file path that has an extension of CSV or JTL. This is the file you can specify in either the common listener reports we talked about earlier, the view results tree, the summary report, the aggregate report. The second entry should point to the user properties file path in the bin directory. And then the third entry should point to a new entry file directory path that you created in Windows Explorer. Click the Generate Report button at the bottom of the pop-up window. This will launch the report generation process. Upon completion, you should see a message indicating that the report is completed. To see the report outputs, go to the directory path you specified in the third entry. There should be a file named index.html. Double-click on the file name from Windows Explorer and your default browser will launch. Here is a sample of the first report output. Now for configuration. If you do not find the following statements in your JMeter bin user.properties file, then locate and open the report generator.properties file. Locate reporting configuration in the file. Starting from that point in the file, highlight the lines to the end of the file. Capture those lines into your clipboard, then open the user.properties file and append the clipboard into the file and then save. Once you relaunch JMeter, the Generate HTML Report option will be ready for use. The defaults are sufficient to begin using dashboard reporting. But at some point, as an example, you may want to change threshold values to be aligned with the target application's SLA or service level agreement or acceptable response time measurements. To accomplish this, search for APDEX in the user properties file and set the satisfaction and tolerance thresholds to values that meet your response time needs. The satisfaction threshold should be high enough to identify a reasonable count of events that take less time than the threshold. The tolerance threshold should be high enough to identify a reasonable count of events that are unsatisfactory but not more than unacceptable response times. The formula for calculating the APDEX is APDEX equals satisfied count plus tolerating count divided by 2 and then divided by the total samples. For example, if the sample count breakdown is 100 of 300 samples met the satisfied condition, and another 100 samples were tolerable, then the calculation would look like this: 100 plus 100 divided by 2 divided by 300, which is equal to 0.500. The conclusion is that the higher and the closer the APDEX gets to 1, the better it is. An APDEX of 1 indicates all samples are responding within the acceptable or satisfaction threshold, meeting SLA. So, to change the threshold values for aligning with SLA requirements, Find the following in the user properties file. The two values are defined in milliseconds. The satisfied threshold is set by default to 0.5 seconds, and the tolerance threshold is set to 1.5 seconds. My time has ended for this session. I thank you for yours. Join me in the next video.